let's talk about using a masking technique while you're stamping. I am Claire Manning from Thirsty Brush and I'm back today with another video. I'm creating a Christmas card this time using a masking technique. So we'll be going through all the different stages of masking. If you haven't done that before, it's a great way to start and it's a really fun technique. I'm going to be using this Home for Christmas stamp set from our Christmas 2019 release. So the first stage of masking when you're stamping is to create your masks, or basically these are going to be stamped images that you're going to use and layer over each other to be able to stamp a scene without your stamp images all overlapping, so you can build the scene up. So I'm using here a piece of scrap card and I'm going to use some low tack tape to adhere them to my card where I want them, and then be able to remove them and stick them down again using these multiple times. You can use proper masking sheets that you can buy that are kind of low tack reusable sheets and stamp onto those. I couldn't find mine this morning and I wanted to do this video quick for you, so I thought I'll just use this spare bit of card. But never ever, if you're doing it this way, never throw them away after you've used them once. You can use them multiple times. Basically all you're doing is overlaying them onto your stamped image so you can stamp again without, like I say, getting all those crossed lines and having to work out exactly where you need to stamp so they don't all overlap together. So when you're stamping with a masking technique, you kind of work in reverse to how you would normally stamp, where you might stamp an image and then stamp again and decoupage say on top, and you're always working from back of the card what's in the background to the foreground. When you're masking, you always work on your foreground first and your background after. So it takes a little bit of a while to get your head around that, but once you've cracked it, it's really easy, and it's a really effective way to get build a scene with your stamps with no dies required. So like I say, we're working in the foreground, so I'm doing the houses and buildings that I want right at the front of my scene first. Stamp them up as normal. I'm just using a black VersaFine ink here, so this is a great ink for using with water-based colouring, so I'm going to use some water-based pens in a while. So now we've done our first layer of houses, so this is the foreground, and we're going to cover those up with the masks that we've just made. Bit of that reusable kind of low tack tape to hold them in place. It's not going to damage our card in between. And then position your next layer of houses. So it's going to look like all these houses are kind of in front of each other, or almost maybe on a hill, or like a rolling hill of houses all together, and it's going to really build depth into our picture. So just stamp the next line out. And then we're just going to go through the same process again. Do make sure that you're cleaning your stamps in between each layer, so that if you need to reposition after you put on, you're not getting any dirty marks. So again, just layer on the masks and then do row number 3 of the houses, and you can see how this really quite quickly comes together. I've sped this video up a tiny bit, but it's not much. But you do need a bit of room. Don't put your piece of card right in the corner of your stamping tool, or I'm using the Eureka, because you might need to position your houses in different ways, or whatever it is you're stamping. This works great with kind of animal stamps or anything else that can kind of build a scene. It works really well. So there we've done row number 3, so I'm just masking off at the top again, and we can do row number 4. So for row number 4, I'm going to go in and use one of the smaller ones. So in this set you get 2 larger house sets, one with like a church kind of thing in, with a spire, and then you get the same again in a small version. So again, this really helps build depth Obviously things with perspective get smaller as they get further away, so it's really nice to be able to use some of the small ones and get that real kind of perspective on your scene. Vary the heights as well, vary the positions, and there we go. So really quickly, that took about 5 minutes to do. I didn't plan ahead where I was going to put them, I just kind of went with it. So now I'm using those masks again, and I'm going to create a Distress ink sky for this scene. So this is a really good way to use your masks as well, to cover up your main stamped image, so when you're doing your inking it doesn't infiltrate all that lovely stamping that you've done. So I'm doing a blue, orange and pink blended background, so I'm using like a messy mat here, and the colours are Cracked Sapphire, Ripe Persimmon and Picked Raspberry. So I went in with a foam tool to do the first blue bit, and then I went in with a smaller kind of little finger daubers to do the orange and pink, because there's not going to be quite as much of that, and I just want to control my blending a little bit more. So we're going to have the 3 colours and then just nicely blend together. And that's going to give us that kind of sunset effect. So going now with the pink right at the base of the sunset, and this is where your masks are really important, because I haven't got to use any kind of skill to get it in between all those different images. Once I peel back the masks, it's going to be absolutely perfect, and the sunset's just going to be around all the buildings. So one last little blend. And then because these are Distress oxides, I'm splashing some water on, and this is going to give us a kind of snowy effect. Give it a second and then block with some kitchen roll. Another few splashes, give it a second again and then blot. So then it's looking like all those houses and churches are in a little snowstorm. So that's the basis of our card. We've got the sunset and all the buildings. So it's up to you now what you do with the buildings themselves. I've added a cross onto the top of the spire here of the church. The reason I didn't put that on the stamp for you is that you may want to use that spire type building for different purposes, and it's easier to add something on like a little cross rather than take it away. So it's up to you in terms of colouring. I'm going to leave everything but one of the buildings, just the white and black, and I'm going to colour in this church here and blend some water-based pens. So this is very quick that I'm doing it here. If you want to see some more demonstrations on using water-based pens and blending and using them with water brushes, things like that, then do check out my other videos, because I do use these Kuretake pens quite a lot. So I've just blended a few colours together and then blend it out with a pen. So I'm keeping it just that one building, but it's totally up to you. You could use alcohol markers, you could use water-based pens, you could use pencils, and you could colour in all of the buildings. You could decorate some of them with kind of Christmas lights or something like that, or even use this for a moving home card if you did, you know, less Christmassy colours, although this isn't traditional. And I've used some of the Gold Mine confetti ink to add some light to the windows, and then I'm just going in with a white gel pen to add a little bit of a kind of snow effect. So you use whatever you've got. So everybody's scared of kind of like mixed media and things like that, and technically this is mixed media because we're using blending inks, we're using water-based pens, we're using gel pens, we've added water, we've used metallic watercolour paints and all these different things. And I'm even going to add in a little while, you'll see some glitter as well. So technically this is mixed media, but just not in that traditional kind of home decor, building something up. So my white gel pen now I'm used to make some snow, and I've used to make a North Star and a couple of other stars within my scene, and it's just added that extra little bit of detail and depth. It doesn't take long, but it's really worth doing. So if you do like my videos, do leave me a comment below. Let me know if there's anything that you'd like to see. I really do read the comments, and it really does help me decide what I'm doing next, if you've got any ideas that you want to see. And the last bit, just to finish this card before constructing it together, is to pop a sentiment on here. And in this set we've got two lovely sentiments that go really well with the houses. We've got the Home for Christmas, which is what I'm using now on this black strip, and I'm just going to gold heat emboss it with our gold digger powder. And you also get a Coming Home for Christmas sentiment in there, so they're really nice ones as well. But like I say, this set works for weddings with the church, it works for new home cards, or just something, maybe even a mail card where you don't want something floral. You could make a birthday card with this, for example, and make one of the houses look like the recipient's house. That would be really fun. So last bit, just a bit of glue pen, and I'm going to add some white glitter just to add to that kind of snowy rooftops. So this is our 2019, it's from our 2019 collection from Christmas, but there will be a 2020 collection coming soon, so do keep your eye out on our website and Create and Craft for that. But there we go, now we've just trimmed off that sentiment, and that's the finished card. Really unusual, different Christmas card for you. So I hope you enjoyed that. While you're here, check out some of my other videos, and I will see you next time.